Okay, what I'm doing here is putting in the dark shadows that appear within the loops of the necklace. I'm using the Kimberly 9XXB for this, but you can use any dark pencil that you have. And I gotta start off, I'm starting off with this first, because I mean I could basically start off drawing the lighter parts of it, but I figure why not just start with this and get an idea of where I need to go with it. And I'm making sure to be very patient and careful with it, because you don't want it to come out cartoonish, and that's what will happen if you rush and you're not like paying attention to how the actual reference photo looks. And then once I get this part done, I blend it down a little bit using the 9XB that's already on there, plus whatever is residual on my paper blender here. And then I'm going to take my electric eraser in a moment here, and I'll show you what I'll do with that. But I just want to get this part here all finished up. And you probably can't see it, but most of these black shadows that I'm putting in here is kind of a weak S shape. It's not a straight line like a railroad tracks or anything. I'm actually coming off of one side, going up across the necklace, and then kind of curving over to the other side. Kind of a small, loose S is how this thing, kind of like this. Just small little details like that, in my opinion, I think really pays off with the finished product. Especially if you have people that are going to really scrutinize your drawing, then of course they're going to be paying attention to every little detail. They're going to go, oh well, look at that's a little off there. That doesn't really look like the real McCoy, and then that could ruin the whole thing. So you don't want that to happen. So just take your time. There's no rush. I mean, you got to go to the dentist or something. Just put your pencil down and go. Don't rush your drawing. I've been working on this one for weeks now, as you probably know already. I just work on it when I have a little bit of time. I'm kind of busy these days. Got to make a living, So I had a little time tonight, and this is for a client in California. I want to get this done for her. She's patiently waiting for it. But I want to make sure she gets a high quality product. It's going to have my name on it. So if my name's going to be on it, it's got to be right on the money, or I'm not going to be happy. Now, before I do the thing with the electric eraser, what I want to talk about here real quick is that there is some shadow starting from about right here, very minor, that just kind of goes right on this side of the necklace, and only on this side. So I'm going to add that in just really lightly against the skin of the neck, because the light's kind of coming from this direction. So just putting a very mild shadow here. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is, because this 9XXB is a little bit dark on this side of the necklace, I need to start lightening up a lot of it from here down, because that's where it starts to get lighter based on the light that's coming to it. So I'm going to just kind of dab it with my kneaded eraser here, just to lighten it down a little bit. I don't want it to be so pronounced. So we'll just do that real quick, and then I'll move on to the next part here in a second. I could have laid it down light in the first place, but I let it get ahead of me here because I was talking and trying to draw, and it's like trying to walk and chew gum at the same time, you know. So I'm just going to take some of that off, just lighten it down a little bit. Just get a little bit of that off there. Just get it toned down just somewhat. Then I'm going to blend it in again. All right. And right here. Okay. Now I got this little electric AFMAT eraser here. It's got a very small eraser tip, which is really nice for this. And I'm just going to put a spot of light between each one. That's the light reflecting off the jewelry here. All right, I'm going to check out where I am with this real quick. All right, I'm going to grab me my HB pencil here, and I need to do some real fine graphite work right in here. Let's see, that's too dark. Let's go with something lighter. Huh? Let's see. Yeah, here we go. I got to go with this. So I noticed that in this area right here, I need to go just slightly darker. I'm going with an HB pencil here, just to give it a little contrast, and then I'm going to start to I'll blend that out. All right, so let's see. This has to be a little darker. This one's a little darker, so I'm gonna go a little darker there. Okay. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Five. Okay, I'm just going to blend it down a little bit so it's not so sharp. Okay, what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to try a different little tact here so that thing doesn't get away from me. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, where's that 4H pencil here? Okay, I think that looks a lot better. Let's see here. Now this here is an extra hard charcoal pencil. I'm going to give this a shot real quick here. It's just another dark pencil. It's a little cleanup. Just the paper blender is all I'm using right now, and just barely moving small amounts of graphite around. And just changing the tone around the necklace just ever so lightly. Not sure if the camera can pick up on that, but filling in any spots that I happen to had missed last time. Getting that neck in there, and nobody has a paper white neck, so I got to make sure that I don't leave this all paper neck white. You know, it's gotta tone it down some. Give it some skin texture, as this paper blender is doing a great job of giving me some good mild, just barely detected skin texture, because this is a brightly lit area on the photograph. Kind of washes it out, but I don't want to have it washed out in the drawing, so I've got to have a little bit of texture in there, just you know that there is absolutely a neck here. There we go. Okay. I have me a little tiny dot I need to get rid of. Let me get rid of that little dot right there. It doesn't belong there. There we go. Now you see it, now you don't. Okay. Now let's see. Got to get back on this necklace again here. Again, let me see. I'm going to I think what I need to do is I'm going to use a let's see, how about a 10B, a nice dark 10B instead of a graphite. See if I can get that shadow in there a little bit better. Yeah, that looks a lot better, I think. And I'm going to, instead of drawing a straight line, I'm just going to put a shadow around each and every loop that I see here, and that accentuates that there is shape to this. I'm kind of going in this loopy-loop type, just to kind of make sure that I don't get it too flat. And I have to be careful that I don't lose my point. Otherwise, I'm going to need to resharpen this thing a little bit. I think I'll do that anyway. Just make sure I don't end up doing something that I'm going to have to erase. So I'm going to give this thing a nice little point. Almost there. All right, that's a good point. I got the point. Okay, now I don't want to go too dark here. I'm already kind of darker, I can tell, but I like the way it looks, so I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to go so much gentler here, this part. Okay, I'm already having issues with that little puppy. Let's see, what am I going to need to correct this thing? Need some highlights here. I have to make an adjustment up here. I got some of the dimensions off. You know what I like too is that just adjusting for some error kind of gives us a really nice, like, makes it look a lot more real to me here, and less like a striped barber pole. You know, here's where it starts getting lighter. I don't want to get too dark here, so have to be careful. I'm gonna have to switch pencils again. Anyway, and this is what I do. Go back and forth until I get it right. And I'm usually glad for doing that. All right, now gotta dull it down a little. finish the rest of these. Okay, these need to be darker. I can tell already. I got to go a little darker with that. So let's see. I think I'm going to go the 4B because it can't be too dark. I see a little bit of shadowing like right off of the loop here, so I want to get those little shadows in there just off of each one of these. Got these little shadows here. Oh gosh. Okay. Loop-de-loops. By the way, this is just low-tack frisket. You can use Scotch tape, and then I got a toothpick as a stylus. That helps me put in little highlights and tight spaces. Okay, I think this is a little dark up here, a little thick. So let me get this thinned out here. Gotta be careful, don't let it stick to everything. Yeah, that's not getting anything off. I'm gonna have to use this. Sharpen it to a little point. All right. Huh. It's making a mess. It's not working. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm kind of killing a dead horse here. But if it bugs me, and I'm not going to be happy to let it go. It's not going out my door that way. All right, time for a little subtle persuasion here. So I'll need some whitening. Yeah. So having some trouble getting the contrast so that the, the light of the necklace kind of reflects. It's because I don't have enough dark around the highlight, so it's too subtle, and it's not giving me that sparkle that I want. I could see something I need to do right off the bat here. Okay. What did I do with that toothpick? There we go. Okay, I gotta lighten the shadow up just a little bit here. I originally went too dark on these links on the bottom. Only the top ones are really dark. Now, another thing that I can do, but I have to be careful that it doesn't turn into a hokey painting, is I can use a white gel, for example, and try to see if I can get a little bit more glit coming off of this. But once I put it on, there's no turning back, so that's the thing. I have to be careful here. Yeah, well, that's about all the glitter I'm going to be able to give this puppy. That necklace is just going to have to stand on its own. So what did I do with that thing? Alright, I think that's just going to have to do. Can't really see improving on it too much. Now with this shirt, the interesting thing with this shirt, I don't know if you can see here that you can see a collar, a button, the threads here, and then the fold down collar here because it's just so dark here. But what I did here is you just come in here with a charcoal pencil, a soft one. This one's medium, I don't want that. Here we go. I'll just use this Primo 3B, 59 3B. And what I do is I just go in here and I put in this really soft dark charcoal, very dark, and no details whatsoever. And then after I put it all in, then I come in with my earbud or one of the paper blenders and start removing the charcoal, and it starts giving the impression, although very lightly, that there is actually a collar there, and so you don't just end up with this dark mass of nothingness, even though that's what the photo looks like, a dark mass of nothingness. This is the messy part too, because you got all this charcoal going down, but fortunately it's not going to go down onto my drawing. It's on the bottom. And you want to keep a sharp edge on your shirt here, and to do that is you just use the extra hard charcoal pencil, and you can come in here and give it a sharp edge because it can hold a point. So if you lose your edge, that's how you put it back on. And this is just coloring now. That's all it is. Just color this in. See, like right here, I can use this extra hard to put my edge in where my sketch line is at. And then her hair starts here. And her shoulder starts here. Yep, that's her shoulder. So I'll put my boundaries in here so I know how far I can go. And so that's basically what I'm going to end up doing here. And not a whole lot to watch at this point, because I got to color this all in with this charcoal pencil. And then when I do that, I'm going to come in here with my cotton bud, and I can see just real barely, there's little lighter spots here. So I'll come in here and I'll just go like this with the cotton bud, and it lightens up that area there. So that's where the light's reflecting off the tip of the collar here. And I can do this wherever I see the fabric folding, which is so subtle because this photograph is very dark. Now, I have a lighter one here where you can see a little more of the shirt and stuff, but of course the faces get too bright. But I can at least pick out where everything has got to be. And these lighter spots, I'll just take my cotton bud and I'll go like this, and I'll pick up the charcoal up in those spots, and it will give the image of the collar and everything. Okay, so I'm going to end up doing most of this off camera because it's not much to look at. All right, so thanks for dropping in and joining me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now, and I'll finish this a little bit later on, probably tomorrow, get this shirt finished. And then the next time I go live is when we start to draw her face with her eyes. That'll be the first thing we do. All right, so that's it. Thanks again for watching.